Hello Sihat, apa khabar? Hai, saya Sasha Saidin dan selamat datang ke Hello Sihat, apa khabar? Di mana kami ingin bicara bersama anda dari hati ke hati.
Dan saya Dr Fariza, host podcast pada hari ini. Pagi ni Sasha, kita ada satu topik yang sangat-sangat relevan dan saya rasa sudah tiba masanya kita bawa topik ni ke podcast kita. Topik ni ialah perkahwinan, penceraian dan kesan kepada mental health anak-anak. Pada hari ini kita amat bertuah kerana ada seorang clinical psychologist yang akan bersama-sama mengupas topik ini. Jadi apa yang saya dah tengok dalam kita buat sedikit research on the topic, daripada statistik Jabatan Perangkaan Malaysia, 1 dalam 3 perkahwinan berakhir dalam penceraian dan juga 1 daripada 4 remaja mengalami kemurungan.
That's the reality of it. It's sad. Tapi like you said, kami amat bertuah. Kita ada somebody yang sangat-sangat kira bertauliah lah untuk kita berbicara tentang topik ini. Dan saya ingin beri sedikit background tentang tamu kita, Encik Danial. Beliau adalah seorang clinical psychologist, mempunyai ijazah sarjana psikologi daripada Help University dan juga ijazah Masters in Clinical Psychology daripada University of Cyberjaya. Jadi beliau menggunakan pendekatan cognitive behaviour. Nanti kita tanya Encik Danial apa tu sebenarnya cognitive behaviour. Beliau menggunakan pendekatan ini untuk membantu kliennya yang terdiri dari pelbagai peringkat umur yang mengalami kemurungan, depression, anxiety, ADHD dan sebagainya. So I think this is going to be a very interesting topic. There's a lot for us to uncover.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it actually.
Tapi pertama sekali kita nak tanya Encik Danial, apa khabar? How are you?
Okay, I'm doing good. Okay, it's a good day today.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for coming. So we'll get right into it. Jadi, yelah kita sebagai orang dewasa sekarang dalam circle kita pun kita dah mendengar tentang bukan saja perkahwinan tetapi juga penceraian. Dan bila perkahwinan tu berakhir dia ada macam-macam faktor sebenarnya. Tapi berdasarkan pengalaman Cik Danial, bagaimanakah dengan the other counterparts yang menerima efek daripada penceraian, iaitu anak-anak lah. Apakah pattern ataupun kesan mental health yang selalu Cik Danial encounter apabila berlaku penceraian di kalangan ibu bapa?
Okay. So regarding topik penceraian ni, so kalau kita tengok banyak kajian lah, so dalam kajian ni a lot of times dia akan kata how penceraian ni could be a risk factor atau faktor risiko yang boleh menyebabkan kanak-kanak mengalami pelbagai masalah emosi, masalah sosial. So like sometimes they akan mengalami masalah akademik, masalah membina hubungan and kurang keyakinan. So sometimes kids akan you punya reaction towards penceraian tu berbeza. So ada kanak-kanak yang akan menyebabkan perasaan marah, memberontak, atau ada yang mungkin total opposite lah. So some in between, yang paling opposite is mungkin dia akan pendamkan, dia akan simpan apa yang dia rasa.
So dia nampak macam ada 2 spektrum ya.
So dia macam satu spectrum. So like I see like a variety of how they react to divorce tu is different lah, depending on few factors lah.
And ada beza tak antara kalau waktu penceraian tu berlaku, beza reaksi anak-anak tu between I guess a young toddler wouldn't know what's going on lah. So, tapi difference between a 8-year-old and a teenager. Is there a difference macam mana reaction diorang and how they take it?
Okay, so there's a reason why I kena mention is a risk factor kan, faktor risiko. So risk factor maksud dia macam it's not a penyebab utama, like it's not so black and white, kan kata macam divorce tu terus, all this issue
Terus jadi.
It's not like that. Divorce is a risk factor, maksudnya macam it maksud risk factor atau faktor risiko is ia meningkatkan risiko untuk
Hmm.
benda-benda ni untuk berlaku.
Hmm.
So
Risiko risk factor tu macam mana tu?
Mm-mm.
So maksudnya divorce tu bukan
Mungkin kalau
necessarily.
lagi
Yeah.
muda, risk factor tu lebih rendah. Kalau the
so it-
older the child is,
so it's more like faktor
So contohnya macam umur berapa yang anak-anak ni yang from Cik Daniel tengok lah ya, impact maksimum menerima kesan buruk daripada penceraian tu. Ada umur, ada range tak? Macam 0 hingga 7 maksimum impact untuk mendapat mental health effect pada anak-anak, ataupun 7 kepada 14 ataupun 14 kepada 21, ada tak range umur?
okay. So for me like because you tanya kan macam what is the umur mana yang macam dapat kena yang paling maksimum tu. So for me it's like there is no macam like actual age yang who gets the most maximum
okay.
kesan maksimum tu.
Mm-mm.
So different age groups dia akan the reaction tu berbeza. So mungkin kalau budak yang paling muda 0 sampai 6, I think it was mentioned before lah yang that because they're still young, mungkin dia tak tahu apa yang berlaku.
Betul.
So kalau tak ada dia tak tahu apa yang berlaku, yang dia tahu is ibu ayah gaduh, dia dah bercerai, so they don't know what's happening. So after that, so because
After
of that,
6 years, dia nak pergi
so
sekolah
macam,
ke?
so because of that, because they don't know what's happening and they're not sure how to rationalize it most of the time, so they'll think that ini salah saya ke, sebab mak ayah bercerai, sebab saya ni bukan budak baik ke, saya bukan saya tak budak pandai ke, so they may, because they don't know what's going on, they may blame themselves.
So pendekatan Encik Danial sebagai seorang psikologis, kalau would you call it mode of treatment? Is that as a psychologist, do you consider it as treatment or is it therapy when your clients come in?
So in my line of work, clinical psychologist, ada our job is 2 bahagian lah. First is not because the work clinical, so we have to do a lot of assessment. Sebelum kita nak tahu macam nak rawat patient atau klien, kita kena pastilah apa isu-isu yang mereka menghadapi. So mungkin saya akan tanya sikit lah pasal any symptom of depression, ada tak macam symptom of anxiety. So along the way saya akan suruh mereka jawab soal selidik, atau sometimes if necessary saya akan tanya maybe with the permission, tak akan tanya family members, like how is the person's mood. So from all that information, boleh dapat tahu lah what is the right intervention.
It's interesting you mentioned because you actually interview your clients and your clients is actually anak-anak. Kan, anak-anak lah. Jadi how easy it is to dapatkan information sama ada mereka tu ada anxiety atau depression atas sebab keseluruhan rumah tangga ibu bapa, sebab budak-budak kan, how do you
Betul.
is it
Especially
different?
macam teenagers because they don't want to talk, right? Macam more difficult with teenagers.
Could you share with us how do you get that
Because
information?
there might be like parents out there that they're going through this situation. Maybe the younger child is lebih senang lah dia untuk kita ask question and
Approach,
dia answer kan. Tapi kalau teenager ni mungkin yang
Ada barrier kan?
so macam mana tu kalau dia orang macam how do I get through my teenage
From my experience, I boleh nampak perbezaan lah. Kalau dewasa, it's a bit easier to talk to them, like have a discussion macam ni. But kids and teenagers, I notice there is some challenges. Like one is from my experience is bukan sebab mereka tak nak share, tak nak ni. Sometimes mungkin tak tahu nak share apa. Like I said, they are not familiar with what. I'm not saying for all kids, but maybe many of them tak tahu depression tu apa. You don't know that. They know what they're feeling. So, because if they don't understand what's going on inside them, how can they explain yang berlaku?
So macam mana diorang boleh come to your practice? How do they come to your center kan? Antara diorang pun tak tahu sebenarnya datang depression. So actually parents yang bawa ke, apa yang parents notice in the children?
Yeah, so a lot of times it's not because they nak datang sendiri lah kan. So it's the parents yang nak kena datang. And I think it can be common for them to macam ada bit of resistance because they tak nak datang. So, because they have no control of what's happening, Kan they have no say whether they want to come or not. Parents yang kena suruh datang. So, they don't have that panggil autonomy. So,
Okay.
because of that, usually dalam session pertama, session kedua tu, I try not to force them into that conversation, So, for kids, I tend to do a lot of macam games with them. So, in my satu tu, I bawa lah macam main-main lah. Lego set, macam action figures, lukisan,
Yeah.
something that can help to kita kata reduce.
Ice breaking sikit lah.
I guess you can say it's ice breaking.
Right.
In the clinical term, it's called reduce the cognitive friction.
Yang tadi kita cakap cognitive behavioral.
Cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay, so it is so dalam counselling atau therapy kita ada macam-macam approach lah. So the most widely used approach kita panggil cognitive behavioral therapy. So it is to bagi idea is basically I beritahu patient atau client how the way we think affects kita punya emotion affects kita punya tingkah laku kita. So it's not so much the situasi yang buatkan kita rasa rimas, buat kita rasa depressed, is how we think of that situation. So contohnya mungkin saya ada interview, job interview yang saya kena pergi kan. So mungkin belum apa-apa lagi, the first thing that comes to my mind is I think I cannot do it lah, tak boleh buat. So because of that, because of these thoughts, I believe in these thoughts so much, it can go into macam makes me more anxious kan. If you notice kan,
kalau interview pun don't go well.
Kan, what if it doesn't go well and all that, and because of the anxiety, it can affect kita punya behaviour juga. Mungkin kita akan procrastinate, kita macam dah nak lah, kita elak betul job interview kan, belum apa-apa lagi kita dah give up terus. So that's the idea of cognitive behavioral therapy. Saya tangkap the fikiran-fikiran yang tak menolong kan. I don't want to use positive or negative.
Exactly.
I want to say what thought is helpful or unhelpful. So maybe I capture that. Is that a helpful thought? So from there, so my job, so this approach helps you to evaluate. Macam detektif, kita evaluate, betul ke this thought ni, do you have to believe it or not?
There is a term now, I think it's probably dah lama term ni, tapi macam starting to gain popularity, metacognition kan.
Metacognition.
So is it like ada selari dengan apa tu cognitive behavioral therapy, sebab you can observe your thoughts and you can address your thoughts.
Metacognition is
Yes.
you are you are aware of your awareness. Okay. So it means like macam, okay, I'm aware, okay, I'm going for this interview, I'm aware that I'm going to have this thought, okay, and this thought is going to lead me to have anxiety. Anxiety is going to lead me to procrastinate. So it's like being aware of your own consciousness.
Is there like, okay, sebab kita tahu memang kalau penceraian tu it has a negative connotation lah kan. Tapi in your experience with your clients semua, ada tak yang children that come out of because they're when the parents get divorced, they are also involved. Kan? Because they're one unit. It's still whatever, they're still a family.
Yeah, they still have to live with the consequences.
Exactly. So, but is there any in your experience situation where the child came out of it with positive reinforcements, meaning that they came into they went into adulthood being, I won't say a better person, but it's kind of tricky, but maybe they learn from what they saw, how they maybe, because not all divorces are bad, meaning sometimes parents have to
Sometimes at the end of the
separate.
marriage, yes.
Yeah, but the parents still get along. They can still parent. But mungkin the child just in the beginning tak faham, why can't they be together? Why? But it's for the good of the two adults being the parents. So, but my question is there any cases where the child comes out of it and
Not having a mental health problem.
yeah.
So I think what you're talking about is resilience lah, like whether when they come out of it, can they macam be able to bounce back, from a bad situation, to kita panggil resilient lah, can they come out stronger from this. So actually I want to go back pasal yang risk factor tu lah, faktor risiko.
Okay.
So like I wanted to say, I remember what I want to say, like it's not so much, it's not the divorce itself, because honestly it's not so black and white lah.
Yes.
It's not the divorce itself yang menyebabkan all these
Yeah,
mental
push
issue.
someone into mental
It's
health.
the things that happen that leads to the divorce too.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. Could you?
Can you elaborate on
Okay.
that? Meaning,
So assuming this is just like macam in this context, macam if let's say before the divorce tu, the conflict tu macam memang terlebih, memang keterlaluan, like it's very, maybe to put better words, like macam very toxic, very abusive kan, like
Okay.
kan. So like kids, they learn and observe, they learn things through observation. So apa yang mereka lihat, they can think it's like, oh, this is normal. So everything that happens at home, they learn everything they learn, they may observe at home. So for kids, I think even adults juga lah, there's two things yang penting untuk budak-budak, for help them feel secure and stable. One is I think I mentioned tadi, autonomy. Autonomy maksudnya macam control lah, like how much control we have. And next few is attention. Maybe this attention in this context, we macam feeling that you are heard, you cared for. So with these two things, it helps children rasa stabil and secure. So if the things that happen before the divorce, the conflict tu keterlaluan, besar, like a lot of maybe shouting, a lot of fights, a lot of macam passive aggression, that sense of safety tu akan hilang. So when that safety tu akan hilang, it will trigger that it's stressful kan. So when you are stressed, it triggers the kids punya fight or flight response. So
fight or flight, yeah.
So fight or flight response is our kita punya body punya reaction towards something stressful atau something yang challenging. Our brain releases this chemical called cortisol, and it prepares our body untuk defend itself. Okay.
So the anak tu, budak tu selalu on the edge.
And they're on edge lah.
Always on the edge.
So that's why I kata lah, it's not sometimes. That's why I said earlier, in some kids mungkin akan memberontak, rasa marah, atau rasa macam they have to hide
inside.
because this is at a young age. This is what they know. It's what they do untuk protect themselves from harm. Is what they know best.
But maybe they feel like they going into adulthood, they feel like they want to break the cycle, and they say to themselves, I don't want to go through the same situation. That's what I meant by maybe there's some
learning points,
some positive
takeaway.
elements there lah. Macam, I mean, yeah, of course, every human being has different emotions, so kita pun tak boleh. So I guess that's what makes your job tough, because you cannot just group all the kids into one group. You have per every individual have to really sit down and understand what they're going through in their head, because kids tend to keep things inside
and it's very common to hear kids saying macam everything's fine or tak tahu.
Exactly.
So that
Dia
is
jawab satu perkataan je.
So that's where the challenge comes in lah,
Yeah. When you say that, that's when the challenge comes in. In my own practice, usually I know that in order to give successful treatment or therapy, you need the cooperation from the client or from the patient.
Betul.
Otherwise, whatever you prescribe, whatever you do, it doesn't go through. They don't accept it. So the first skill of psychology, psychiatrist or clinician, physician is actually to understand who you're dealing with. So because now the topic is actually about mental health in children after divorce, when you talk to children, is there a situation where you actually have to sit with the mom or the dad and then the child, because dia orang kan kira bawah umur kan? So how many people do you have to handle in one setting?
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, I don't really have a lot of exposure or experience also dealing with counseling for children, but one challenge is to get through the child
Yeah.
who's not talking to you.
Yeah.
The second challenge is actually try to interview the parents
Mm.
because you want to know the risk factor. The parents punya divorce, is it like abusive, shouting, or is it
Yeah.
just distance?
In a way, are the parents also your client as well?
In some ways.
Ada package ke?
Yeah.
How does it?
Yeah, because I think there's something like my supervisor told me, if we're dealing with this child patient, like that means that if the other parts will play a factor juga lah, you know, because whatever the child's going through, you know, like it is being influenced by other things that is happening around them. So of course, the baksa lah have to bring in the parents lah, like it or not. But when I'm dealing with child clients, I always tell myself, if my client is a child, so I have to ask myself what is best for the child,
Okay, yes, of
what
course.
is best for him atau her. So it depends. You know, if the child is not cooperative, I try not to bring the parents in too much. You know, maksudnya
Because that's
macam-
probably the reason the child is
Yeah,
not.
true.
Yeah, so it's all about learning to build trust with that child atau teenager.
Yeah.
So what I would do is maybe I would ask the child to come first. I talk with him or her, try to play games. Like maybe talk about the macam what's happening. Just
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about benda macam biasa.
Almost being like a friend, no? Like a shoulder to lean.
Yeah, so we need to kind of, in my life, from my experience, it's important to be at their level lah. You know? So maybe child atau teenager don't feel comfortable kalau there's macam ada a gap, not like kanak-kanak, dewasa. Macam
So
ada
you yang kena
authority.
bring down your gap
Or,
as a
yeah,
child,
you have to be like-
as
kita
an
kena,
adult.
kita kena, it's better to be more in a collaborative approach. You know, when we work
Yes.
together. Okay. So sorry.
No, I was going to say, so, again, like I said just now, memang each child is an individual, so different child, different scenario. But on an average, usually if a child comes in, how long does it take for the child to
Open up.
not open up, for them to, I don't want to say be normal again. It's not,
Turn a corner.
yeah, turn a corner. Like,
So some
does it take weeks, months, or years sometimes maybe?
Actually, I wish I boleh bagi a straightforward answer. Macam,
Yeah.
kalau this treatment, you
Ah.
can see.
Mm.
Unfortunately, tapi malangnya, there is no clear-cut answer sebenarnya. You know, there is no timeline of bila a child boleh recover. It all depends on the child punya willingness. Also depends on parents punya cooperation sekali. So from my experience, so alhamdulillah macam kebanyakan ibu bapa are very cooperative lah. You boleh faham, so explain. So this is my experience lah. But experiences from other colleagues saya, dia macam lain sikit lah. Ada parents yang macam tak kooperatif sangat. Dia macam tak nak dengar.
Tapi kalau parents tak cooperative,
Macam
why
degil
do they
lah.
why would they bring their child to see you in the first place kalau dia orang decided I'm not going to be cooperative kan?
Sometimes it can be from my understanding, because maybe it's ibu yang macam risau, you know, ayah nak cakap lah, kan macam, so parents pun macam not working together.
One of the parents in denial kan. The
yes.
child's okay. Like, why you understand for?
Ataupun maybe they think that this is the child punya problem, so dia akan
There's nothing to do with the parents.
Tak ada kena-mena.
Aduh.
So this is the psychoeducation. Dia kena psychoeducate lah. So psychoeducation maksudnya macam, you know, in order for us to give treatment, dia kena faham apa yang berlaku. You have to educate them lah, like what is this treatment about, what is this condition about. So the more they understand, sepatutnya the more dia akan cooperate dengan kita.
Is there also mungkin pengaruh daripada pressure, also mungkin daripada kawan-kawan, daripada relative jugalah. Makcik-makcik ke pakcik-pakcik ke. Oh kesian ni. Mak bapak dah cerai. And then daripada anak tu okey. Sebenarnya tu macam kawan kat sekolah ejek ke apa ke. Does that happen also?
Like why they come onto therapy, is it?
I mean like pressure from not even because of the parents. Mungkin dia macam okay, my parents. Tapi sebab stigma masyarakat ke. So like I said, in school budak-budak kan macam engkau, mak bapak engkau dah ni kan, not together anymore kan. Budak tu macam tak faham je.
Sometimes it's the stigma jugalah yang boleh affect, like kenapa macam parents are denial juga. Sebab some parents macam tak nak orang tahu yang kena hantar anak kena counselling to therapy, tu the stigma, so they pun macam macam that's why some of them can go into denial lah, macam nothing wrong lah.
Yeah, there's still a lot of stigma around mental health kan. There's still, also around divorce. Stigma is a thing in our
Of course,
society.
I'm a bit optimistic sikit. I think it is getting better.
Yeah.
More and more people are getting more information about mental health. So like there is stigma masih ada lagi lah, tapi I do see a bit of improvement.
Yeah, that's good. So I actually from parents point of view ataupun pendengar-pendengar kita, kanak-kanak ni dia pasal umurnya masih muda dan kematangan fikiran dia tak panjang akal lagi. Pertuturannya tak develop macam kita. We can say what we want. Dia orang tak luahkan lagi.
Yeah.
Tetapi apakah cara kanak-kanak ni atau anak-anak selepas divorce ni dia display atau cara dia meluahkan yang tanda-tanda sama ada dia tu tengah depression ataupun tengah anxiety. He won't come to parents cakap, I have depression or I have palpitations. I feel down today. They don't have that vocabulary tau. Children don't have that vocabulary. Tapi daripada sifat dan tabiat dia, sama ada di rumah atau di sekolah ataupun dalam perhubungan dia. So boleh tak Cik Daniel mungkin bagi a few pointers kepada pendengar kita dan juga pada kami nak detect ada certain behaviour kita dah macam red flag.
Macam telltale signs.
Tanda-tanda lah.
Ya. Kalau anxiety macam mana? Depression macam mana? Perhubungan tak sihat macam mana?
Ke the child's just going through terrible teens. Right.
Just being a normal
teenager.
Next phase kan. But for me, from my experience, ada juga lah some kids, walaupun they're still young, tapi they can show some emotional maturity. Some lah, some lah. But and from my experience, if there are some adults who pun cannot even like tell like how they're feeling. Kadang-kadang dia macam terbalik juga. But okay lah, but like of course, talking about the kids who don't know how to identify that they're depressed. Okay, so usually I can macam the symptom of depression. So depression ni is more or less sama. I check on dewasa dan kanak-kanak. Saya akan check dia punya mood. Okay, saya akan tanya, okay, awak berapa macam mana untuk selama at least 2 minggu ni? Okay, macam atas ke okay atau macam rasa macam down sangat. So itu pertama lah. Kedua saya akan tanya macam okay, hobi-hobi yang awak suka ni masih buat lagi ke, masih minat lagi ke? Okay, dia akan kata macam sekarang macam tak berapa suka sangat lah main bola, tak berapa suka sangat lah nak pergi gym sekarang. Selepas ni okay, dia macam tengoklah dia punya interest and passion. Sekarang saya tanya dia punya macam physiological punya symptom lah, macam contohnya tidur tu macam mana, cukup tak tidur, bangun tu rasa cegas tak. So I ask about the sleep quality, bukan saja sleep how long they sleep, but sleep quality juga. Okay. And then ketiga saya akan tanya lah macam ada rasa tak macam tenaga tu macam kurang, if like get easily tired tetap, how is your appetite, selera makan macam mana, terus perasan tak you makan lebih ke makan kurang. Itu nombor ketiga. Lepas tu saya akan tanya, have you been able to concentrate tak? Boleh tu, you rasa macam senang tak nak tukar perhatian aktiviti kerja ke? So is it all macam physiologic punya symptom of depression. Lepas tu saya akan tanya pasal diri sendiri mereka lah, macam saya akan tanya pasal do you feel good about yourself kan? Do you feel like you are orang yang with high self-worth, orang yang berbandoi. Sometimes people say macam, saya rasa macam saya kena orang baik lah. Tapi macam saya tak ada keyakinan diri. So I ask about the
Children take blame for
they may. So I rasa macam so I ask about the self-esteem. And then finally, and I think as you know, depression, depression can be a high risk factor untuk it's like suicide or suicidal ideation. So of course, so I
You
have
akan
to,
tanya juga.
yes, kita because we're in this session, mesti tanya, I have to ask, suicide risk, I can tanya, do you feel
How
like
do you ask a child about suicide?
How do you talk
It's
about something
such
like
a tough
that?
question.
I think what makes it tough is the stigma of it. That orang macam can use kataan lain untuk suicide. But for me, my rule of thumb is just tanya je.
Yes,
Like,
of course.
that's
Just
why
be direct.
I think it's important to be direct lah.
Yes.
Kira lah dewasa ke budak-budak. For me, it's I akan tanya macam, how do you feel about your life? Do you feel like maybe at first I ask, do you feel like you want to not this anymore? And then of course, and then I ask the question, do you feel like you want to end your life? Some maybe say no, some say yes. So I kata je lah macam, I mean the way I ask tu is macam, sometimes when people go through all these things, sometimes it might be common for them to feel like they tak nak hidup lagi.
Lah, kesiannya.
Yeah, so
So what you do when ada budak
That's
cakap,
such a tough job.
Okay.
Oh my god. Even me, like now I'm getting like,
okay.
it's so sad.
dia kata lah, ada budak tu dia kata, yeah, I take the blame for the parents' divorce and I feel worthless. Saya rasa bersalah dan saya tak look forward.
Okay.
What do you do then?
If let's say the suicide, so I tengok the suicide risk lah, Is it minimum, moderate atau
Very
severe?
high risk. Yeah.
So high risk tu mungkin dia dah kata macam, I have thoughts about nak bunuh diri. I have thoughts nak macam I dah ada plan dah nak buat hari ni, nak buat
Dah ada target dah.
ada alat-alat. So from that's when we have to break confidentiality. Saya kena inform the emergency contact.
Yes.
So if let's say it's low tu macam, they say that low tu macam ayah dia fikir macam tak nak hidup lagi. Like macam, I hope kalau I bangun tu, kalau I tidur tu I tak bangun lagi. So that is considered suicidal ideation lah.
Idea baru.
Idea sahaja lah. So that is like very minimum lah.
Aduh, kesian.
Okay. But that's the reality lah. Sometimes it can happen.
Okay. So actually your job, maksudnya it's not easy. This topic is heavy. I know. I mean the whole purpose for our podcast pun all this one memang kita bukanlah purposely pick on topic heavy topics, but sometimes benda yang
we need to talk about it.
we do need to talk about it, but sometimes people talk belakang ataupun senyap because of stigma, like you say. Everything in our culture or society, stigma plays a big role. We have to address that. We have to accept that about our society, kan. Tetapi dalam pengalaman Cik Daniel lah, siapa lah yang nak kahwin untuk bercerai? Tak ada, kan? So orang berkahwin untuk because of love, because of unity, because all the good things that come with marriage.
Nobody plans to be kahwin. To plan to macam, bila saya nak divorce.
Siapa nak buat macam tu? It's not. So, tapi bila when sometimes tak ada Tuhan ataupun ketentuannya, itulah cara yang terbaik untuk keluar daripada satu situasi. While I know that this podcast is not, kita bukan nak kaji the faktor-faktor, tetapi because you deal with children, akibat daripada penceraian. So saya nak tanya satu soalan yang berdasarkan pengamatan, apakah kesilapan terbesar ibu bapa terhadap anak-anak mereka ketika mereka melalui penceraian? Is it lack of communication? Is it blaming the children? Itulah kau, anak bapa kau ni memang sama macam bapa kau. Sometimes they say, kau ni sama macam mak kau. So apakah kesilapan terbesar mereka, ibu bapa ni adalah, you are ending a marriage and then you inflict. Apa kesilapan terbesar pada anak-anak ni? So focusing on the children, kan?
Okay, so I think I can speak from my experience lah, and these are some things that these are one of the things that I think like macam parents, one of the kesilapan lah in parents may buat terhadap anak-anak is maybe the lack of transparency.
I see.
And kedua is maybe underestimating what the children is going through. I don't know kalau you percaya tak lah, but for the longest time people have the idea of children tak dapat depression, tak dapat anxiety is a very common thing.
They can just move on easily.
Kan, people think that children are naturally resilient, which I think they are, tapi
Ada risk factor macam
Right,
cakap.
kan, there's risk factor. So, there's this notion that children can, because they've gone, in the past, children have gone through war, gone through conflict. So, they can naturally, macam
Adapt.
Bounce
adapt
back
lah.
lah.
They can bounce back. So,
Mm.
so they're not so worried about. So, from there, they become a bit careless lah, macam how they behave towards their kids.
Yeah,
So, and of course, the lack of transparency, because they think that, as I said lah, macam kids macam, they think that kids tak faham apa yang berlaku. Like, no need to tell lah, and I'm sure they'll be fine.
Well, how to tell? Do you have any tips for example parents yang going through a difficult time in their marriage? Dah lah, you have to settle your marriage issues. You have to deal with that, and then you have these children looking up to you and like wanting to be updated what's going on. So maybe as healthcare professionals, we can recommend you need to be transparent with your children. You don't underestimate, like you say, but is there a practical tips?
So of course the other to be tactful lah. There is macam ways to do it lah. It depends on the age juga,
Okay.
So I think you have to first kita ingat lah that remember what I said, that it's important for children to feel safe and secure. So you work around that. Okay, so how to make sure that my child rasa selamat, rasa stabil, like at home. So in terms of transparency, and I guess like if possible, I think it's okay to be honest with your child. That's best way you can. So kalau mungkin budak-budak kecil, tadika, toddler yang tak faham apa yang berlaku, maybe you just keep it simple,
Okay.
Okay, like mak dan ayah maybe tak. That's why kita tak setuju. We just cannot live together. Tapi kita masih sayang adik.
Kita kawan lagi.
Just keep it simple, straightforward. Like don't just say like macam I think we have a lot of disagreement. It's not working out because like what? Because you don't have to tell budak-budak kecil macam we have financial issue atau masalah intimacy.
Jangan burdenkan
You don't have to tell them because
Jangan
even if you tell them,
aib pasangan masing-masing.
because even if you tell them that, then what are they going? How is that helpful?
Yeah,
What are they going to use with that information? Kan?
True, betul.
Kan?
Okay, we've talked about senario di mana kisah rumah tangga ibu bapa berakhir dengan penceraian.
Yeah.
But now, bagaimana dengan kisah rumah tangga yang the parents stay together for the child's sake,
Okay.
for the children lah. Even though they're not happy, they're in an unhappy marriage and toxic, like you brought up tadi, toxic.
Okay.
So usually the decision to stay together is hard. It's hard. Tapi niat dia sebenarnya baik untuk for the child. So they feel like they want to maintain that family structure, kan? Mungkin also so that from the outside people still nampak happy lah. Tapi mungkin like I said, niat dia so that the child still feels secure. Tapi sebenarnya every day ni gaduh. So the implication is deep. It's deep because eventually if it's a young child mungkin tak sangat lah. Tapi also depending on how bad, how toxic the marriage. Kalau dah physical tu depan parents semua baling pinggan, pecah ke apa semua. So in your opinion, should the parents stay together? Is this scenario? Okay, let's put aside yang physical lah. Kalau dah physical tu memang there's a no already lah. Tapi do you think
Emotional views.
gaduh-gaduh? So how do you think? Do you think that scenario is still boleh ke lagi kalau kita stay in a marriage for the child's sake?
Alright. So we're going to the context of macam toxic,
Yeah.
when the relationship has become very toxic. So in this context of toxic, maksudnya macam kedah macam bergaduhan tu terlebih.
Maybe the parents are sarcastic with each other, putting each other down. Kan?
Emotional dumping, banyak passive aggressive. So we're going to use that context lah kan. Okay. So maybe something I would ask, if I ask a parent kan, if they ask me that kan, okay, if you're going to stick together just for the sake of your child, just to keep an image, I would ask them, okay, if you stick together and we're still like this, what message are you sending to your child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you
Because they think that's a normal marriage. Or not normal lah, but they think, this is acceptable marriage.
Is this the type of message that you want, to send to your child or not. Like you should, that you should just macam put up with this
Yeah,
behavior or
exactly.
not. So I think you have to think about, going back lah, think about what is best for your children. Is this the what? Is this how you want your child to see what marriage is like?
Because I can speak from my experience. I mean, I can be honest, and that's what happened with my parents. They stayed together for the kids. And also because my mom is from England, so
Okay.
at that point, I must have been like 8 or 9, and then Zain, my younger brother, kecil lagi lah. And there was discussions of like, oh, if they divorce, and then do we go back with her to UK, But I think eventually, I don't know how the decision was made lah sebenarnya, but they, at the age of lambat juga lah, 60s, they started to stay in separate
Bilik.
residence,
Okay.
and eventually they got divorced. And again, it's from my experience, my personal experience. I was like, even at my age, so I must have been mid-30s at that time, so dah besar panjang lah. But it really affected me. I think at the point when because I'm very close to my father. My father pun dah passed away 10 years this month. But I was very close to my father. He was like my best friend. So, and I had always told people, my parents, because at that point they had been married for over 30 years lah. So I'd be, oh yeah, my parents, and I mean, I would hear them fight and stuff like that when I was young. Tapi I don't think anything physical happened lah. It was more of just them not getting on, like just being two different people that couldn't get along lah. Like, I mean, marriages memang people tak get along. Tapi ni memang dah dead end lah macam dah, And I remember calling my dad and like, wow, how can you let this happen? You're the man, you gotta give in, it's like, you gotta take care of my mom, even in my age. So I can't imagine for a child. But I don't know, but it could be the opposite. Maybe like you said, a child more
And then you
resilient.
call your dad to express your anger.
Yeah, I
What
was
Cik Daniel
so
was saying,
upset.
ada budak
It can be.
tak boleh nak express.
Yeah.
They bottle it in.
Yeah. So even though my parents had niat to keep it together for the kids, I guess in a way it did help, because going through school and whatever, semua, like I said, I used to tell people, oh, my parents, they're so good, they're still together. And till this day, I don't know what my parents would say. Like I said, my father's not around lah, but I don't know what they would say about their marriage, because obviously I wasn't living
In their shoes.
Yeah, I wasn't in their shoes. 'Cause I wasn't living the life that they were as a husband and wife. But till this day, I still say, I wish I had a marriage like my parents. But I don't know whether that's me being delusional ke, or that's the scenario that I had in my head.
But
So that's why it goes back to do the parents stay together for the kids?
Yeah. For me, honestly, even as a psychologist, I cannot make that pilihan lah, whether they should divorce or not, That's
Individual.
that's based on their, like they have to make that decision themselves, So of course I would ask that question like, are you doing what's, this process, are you doing what's best for your child or not? I mean, I think actually back here lah, macam, if let's say both parents macam, they don't have that intimacy anymore, they don't feel that connection, but if they can still still remain civil, kan, macam boleh talk properly, without macam talk toxic
Talk
payang,
normal lah.
talk normal, kan.
Like I said, there's no sarcasm ke.
Kan, if they can
I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah. So you've gone through as a child. You died at that point of POV as a child.
Okay.
Parents divorcing, and you have a POV as a therapist lah.
Yeah.
But they didn't divorce when I was a child. They divorced when they
when you
were
were
in their
adult.
60s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question, maybe to both of you.
Okay.
So for parents yang decided to stay together for the sake of children. Okay, me as a parent myself, I was taught that masa budak-budak membesar, Sebab kita bekerja kan, mak kerja, anak membesar, ada 3 time yang sangat sacred, yang sangat harus diprotect oleh mak ayah, iaitu masa budak tu bangun pagi, masa dia balik dari sekolah dan sebelum dia tidur. 3 waktu ni sangat important untuk dia punya perkembangan, untuk dia bonding. Especially mak yang tak ada duduk rumah macam I lah, I kerja kan. And I selalu bergambar. So adakah bila mak dan ayah yang tengah go through like separation tapi decided to stay together, berkorban untuk anak-anak macam what your parents did kan. So how, this is I suka minta practical tips. I suka bagi tips. So what do you think if these parents yang sacrificing their own emotion, telan je sebab nak stay dalam satu rumah dengan anak-anak, what can they
Because
do?
mentally it will affect them also.
Yes,
right?
as parents, diorang nak kerja lagi, nak cari duit lagi, nak jaga anak, nak jaga mental health diri sendiri. But because they decided to stay together for the kids, what tips can you say to the mak dengan ayah yang together tadi tu? Dekat 3 time ni, 3 time points, bangun pagi, balik sekolah dan tidur. Ada tak tips yang bagi budak tu rasa selamat, safe and secure?
Safe and secure.
What can these parents do during these 3 checkpoints? Ada tak tips?
Maybe for now, one tip I can give is you can do like a regular check-in.
Regular check-ins. Okay.
Not just ask the child how are they doing. Are you doing okay?
A lot of hugs
Okay.
maybe.
I mean,
lot
not
of cuddles.
too much, not to like macam like overly, tapi you know like just.
Or teenager be like, don't hug me.
Kan, dia macam kan. Yeah, you know.
What are you hugging me
Yeah.
for?
Yeah, and I think and I think you can also just tell them, maybe number 2 is to give them that space to talk. You know?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, so
of course,
important.
kids or the teenagers, especially maybe akan, refuse it, but it's okay. You just give that opportunity for them to talk about what they're thinking about, how they feel, and of course, as parents kita tak boleh, pasti kita tak judge lah, kita tak criticize apa yang
Tak criticize. Yeah, that's
betul.
But once kita criticize, dia shut down.
Betul.
Kita dah cakap dah.
Betul.
And another thing is they refuse is not because, and it can also be bukan sebab dia tak nak cakap apa-apa. It's just that sometimes they don't know what to talk about also. They don't know what they're thinking about.
Betul.
They don't know what to ask.
Betul.
Sometimes they feel like for some reason they have this pressure macam they need to come up with a perfect answer, what to say, perfect question. So this is something that also when like sometimes kita, when people ask macam, do you have any questions tak, perasaan tak orang kita macam tak ada.
Padahal
So, I
ada
think,
banyak.
Alah.
kan, it's not because
Alah.
kan, it's not because kita tak tahu. It's not because we know understand everything. It's just that we don't know what question to ask. Atau kita takut the question kita ask tu
Kita
macam
judge, orang judge kita.
we think that our question tak perfect. It's not a
Betul.
perfect question.
Tak relevant ke.
Tak relevant.
I think even for a child pun mungkin dia rasa macam, oh, my parents are going through such a hard time already. I don't want to cause them even more stress.
Macam beban.
So dia exactly, dia macam tak ada beban kan. I mean like for me in my case, like I said, even at that age at 30, I was 30 something, I can't remember how it was. I was in shock, and although I had seen the signs earlier on, but after a while, obviously I had to accept it lah, because it's not even my marriage. But then it's like I accepted. But then only after that I realized actually I was kind of selfish, because I never thought about what they were going through. I was thinking about myself, So I was thinking like, oh, but it's not fair. Padahal they must have gone through a lot to get to that point where they were like, even at that age, like, no.
Ada tak moment yang you teringat apa yang your parents buat, that bila you teringat sekarang, actually it's a good thing yang diorang buat for you was sticking together for so long? Ada tak momen-momen yang membantu you to become a better adults? Ada tak?
Well, like I said, the thing is,
checking in macam
the
yang
thing
cik
is,
Gadis
I was very close to my dad. So, and I remember my dad's office was very close to my school. I remember like when I got good results for my SPM, I mean, honestly, it's very good, but I was proud of myself. And the first thing I did was I ran from my school to my dad's office, and he was the first person I wanted to tell. So it was just moments like that. Tapi we didn't have all this, macam you said, like certain moments that orang tak because both my parents were working and um I don't want to say we're not, our family was not a hug, cuddly kind of, but they were there. Both my mom and my dad were there, present. I think that's what was so important for us.
Yes.
See now, but now I'm a single mother. I was a single mother for 11 years, with my son, and when we made the decision to get divorced. It was just something that we decided on, and Arya was very young, 3 years old. So I said, mungkin it's the difference between when you get divorced and you have a toddler or if you have a teenager. But as he grew up, then I was like, oh, there's no presence of a father. And I think that's where I always did the check-ins, like, are you okay? Are you okay with the situation that you don't have a father in your life? Because there's certain things that only mungkin a father can do with a son or daughter, whatever semua kan. But I'm lucky because in my life I have my brothers, I have my uncles that are very proactive in my son's life as well. So I don't know whether that's me macam nak sedapkan hati ke apa, tapi I do ask Arya from time to time, are you okay? Because that's the best that we can do.
Yeah.
That's the best that we can do. So I think it's a case by case basis.
So because now you're sharing your I pula interview. Because now you're sharing a very personal story, tapi I'm sure a lot of people can relate, and you're giving tips. So so the key point is to make sure the children feel safe and secure and give them space
Yeah.
to split.
And I guess a third one, kalau lah, is like maybe things like divorce, separation. It's like something that breaks the the flow, the normal flow. Like so. Let's
The
say,
routine.
Yeah, the routine. And all that. So things, when something like this happens, things suddenly it feels like things are like not normal anymore. Like example, like if a natural disaster macam dalam yang berlaku kan, it affects everything in our life. So dia macam rasa like
It's a life-changing
something
event.
life-changing.
Yes.
And when something like that happens, it's important for a child to to get the child to get back into routine. Like they need to have that feeling that things are getting back to normal. That is also important juga.
Betul.
That's why you check in
Sense
lah,
of
tak nak pergi
Check in,
sekolah.
atau and not to check in, maybe just plan some activities in America. Like these simple things. And
Also, I think with now the modern times, divorce has become much more acceptable lah. Whereas macam zaman mak bapak kita,
It's a taboo.
people will talk behind, oh nanti orang cakap macam ni,
What
you
would
talk
the
behind
neighbours
their back.
say?
Yeah kan. So sekarang ni it's more acceptable. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like
It's modern life.
yeah, it's modern life. And because what is the point? I can speak from my experience on this topic. Like what is the point of being in a relationship that is just not working, especially if it's you're hurting each other lah basically kan. Because at the end of the day, bila kita stress dengan partner kita, we tend to take it out on our kids.
Aduh.
Indirectly kan, macam kita gaduh
Tak
dengan
perasan.
our partner and then macam
Yeah, you're living in the same house, in the same unit.
kan.
Takkanlah you tak. Everybody's affected.
Yeah,
Everybody's
exactly.
Yeah. So mak sedih, ayah sedih. So when you check in as parents, parents yang going through divorce, tapi stay together for the sake of the child. And these parents are try very hard to be good parents. You're checking in. What are the practical tips for these parents to differentiate, untuk membezakan anak tu on the way nak develop depression ataupun itu kesedihan yang biasa. Yelah, budak-budak kan mesti dia ada gaduh dengan kawan ke, berebut mainan ke, or something happen kat kucing rumah, tak buat homework. I mean normal children, normal like children from normal marriage pun ada juga mengalami kesedihan.
Yeah.
So apakah lagi anak-anak macam ni kan? Tapi apa beza dia? Ada tak parents boleh check, oh dia macam nak kena bawa jumpa someone. Ada.
So like I think from one sense, like you asking like what's the difference between sadness and macam
Red flags for depression.
macam depression. So I think one is duration, respond. It's like sadness too. Macam it's a natural and healthy response towards something yang
Yes.
that doesn't go your way lah, to sadness. Depression, of course, it can go into depression. Can also go into macam rasa sedih, low mood. But low mood, it's not just sedih. It can also rasa macam rasa enam. Tak rasa gembira, tak rasa sedih, tak rasa marah. Just macam
Apathetik lah. Dia
apathetic.
apathetik. Tak ada perasaan lah.
Okay. And of course, depression is not just pasal rasa sedih. It affects other parts of our life. How kita nampak diri sendiri. Kan saya beritahu kan pasal self-worth or not. And depression tu macam all this happen macam lagi lama, like more than 2 weeks daripada macam normal sadness.
So the check-in tu yang parents nak buat check-in tu,
Yeah.
itulah dia punya framework.
Yeah,
Nak
you
check
have to,
in budak tu punya
you check
siapa.
the baseline lah. Biasanya saya ni macam kerja sekolah selalu buat, markah semua okey. Dulu hang out dengan kawan. Sekarang macam dah tak buat lagi. Sekarang
Cikgu pun cakap markah dah tak bagus, tak fokus kat kelas.
dulu suka cakap sembang, sekarang macam masuk bilik je. Okay, so this can be a red flag juga lah.
I see. Okay, that's
It's gonna be like a depression lah.
okay.
So if we're talking about if we move slightly off the topic of divorce and
Okay.
marriage or parents, if we can talk more about the children. Now everybody's talking about Gen Z,
Okay.
kan? I think when we
Gen
talk
Z.
about Gen Z, everybody has like, okay, we know
Yeah, generasi
what
berbeza.
Gen Z
Okay.
are like, kan?
Okay.
There's the pros and there's the cons. Okay, I think we
I think all
living
generations
through it,
ada
kan?
pro and con diri sendiri juga lah.
Yalah. Jadi I think because it can be quite funny sometimes.
Yelah,
It can be
anak
quite
kami
serious
Gen Z.
sometimes.
Anak kami Gen Z. So
And I
it's
think
interesting generation. I would
yeah,
say.
because every generation ada lain lah kan.
Yeah.
Kan? Back in our day, we macam dah tua
We
sangat
live without
dah tu.
internet dulu, okay?
Kan, yeah. And I think that also, I was going to say also, I think that plays an important role also with all the gadgets that they have, and then they can get on the internet semua kan, macam-macam access to all kinds of things kan. Now of course if we don't know who they're talking to online, that's one thing that I worry about. Kan?
Cyber security.
Yeah. So but one thing about, and this is not just me, this is like other parents that I've talked to also yang I baca online juga, dia kata kanak-kanak zaman sekarang ni diorang lebih sensitif terhadap, bukan lebih sensitif in general, terhadap teguran. Teguran, and then diorang mudah terasa triggered.
Okay.
I always see on my FYP on my Instagram, you see all these videos and memes of employees that
Tegur
employ
pekerja dia,
Gen Z kan, macam it's quite funny juga lah, tapi it's like betul kat I don't know lah, tak tahu kerja kan, sensitive. So and this is quite interesting because when I did some research online, there's this new thing called generasi strawberry. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Strawberry generation.
Strawberry generation. So,
Okay.
I'm not too, exactly, it's quite interesting, right? Jadi di mana generasi muda kini lebih cenderung untuk memberontak apabila dimarahi atau ditegur, khususnya berkaitan disiplin dan pelajaran. So kalau macam dulu kita kata saya dulu pun kena marah, elok je jadi orang berguna, kan? Tapi sekarang dah tak boleh dah cakap macam tu. Macam in that context in that environment, it's completely different today. So I'm sure you face that also. Are you familiar with this?
Strawberry generation.
Yeah, can you
I
explain a
heard
bit
about
what
it.
it is, maybe if you know?
Because this is more like a macam trend word. Because
Hashtag.
but I think if I remember correctly, nanti kita kena check lah.
Okay.
Strawberry, because I think kalau kita tanam strawberry kan, kita masuk dalam, it's like a greenhouse kan. So it's like properly macam apa? The temperature is macam betul, like everything is being
So very
controlled.
temperamental, you know.
So I think
Temperature salah je tak boleh. Tak jadi lah
so
strawberry.
macam I think it's more like
Okay.
this generation macam strawberry
Fragile.
is like maybe terlalu protective. Parents are overly protective sangat. That's why macam that's why orang kata macam especially macam kalau tegur sikit tak boleh and all that.
Do you get like parents coming in and saying, can you please talk to my Gen Z child ke apa ke.
Okay.
I mean, because
As of
anyway,
now-
You talk to my generation strawberry child.
okay lah, we laugh about it. It might be
Okay,
funny
yeah.
because for
But
us,
it's
our
real.
children, it's
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
But also kalau the other side to it is if there's sensitive or ultra sensitive pun bahaya juga. It can lead to them they take things too seriously kan. So macam mana tu macam how do we approach our Gen Z kids?
I think sekarang we have to first acknowledge that parenting sekarang, and parenting dulu is
Different.
beza, because we have latest technology, like environment is different. So, like we cannot compare that like how it was back then to sekarang, and new parents sekarang macam are facing different challenges yang your parents didn't have to face around. And okay, I think it's a good time for me to explain about the like the 4 stars of parenting,
Okay.
that
Yes,
that,
please.
based on kajian lah. Okay?
Yeah.
So I won't say which one is right or wrong, tapi I will tell you lah which one yang macam that yields the best results lah in terms of kanak-kanak punya development. So one, we have authoritative parenting. Okay. Then kedua is authoritarian parenting. Ketiga is permissive parenting. And yang last kali is neglectful parenting. I think there's also additional lah, macam tiba-tiba ada nampak macam ada lawnmower parenting. Okay lah, we stick to the
Yeah,
four.
apa helicopter.
Helicopter parenting. Tapi like they stick to the four
Okay.
empat utama lah. So I think when it comes to parenting, it's important to have some kind of balance lah. So authoritative is yang orang kata macam is the more balanced parenting, because I think when it comes to raising kids, kita kena perlu ada a combination of macam care and discipline. Okay, maybe I don't want to say word discipline, maybe firm guidance. I think we need these two things to go together. So that means macam in this context, mungkin like you love your child unconditionally, but you also have some rules, boundaries, expectations you would like them to meet.
Yeah.
And you want your child to be independent, to grow to be independent people, but also sometimes you also want to make sure that they are not breaking the rules, like what is within their punya macam what is available or not. So like there's a bit of a balance lah, like macam orang kata yin and yang lah, there's a balance, and it feels more like a collaborative approach, like between child dengan parents. Okay, so that is the authoritative parenting. And kedua is authoritarian parenting. Yang macam a bit of nampak macam imbalance lah. There's a lot of discipline, tapi kurang empathy dengan care. So it's like keras macam my way or the highway kind of situation. So that it can lead to parents macam kids having a lot of anxiety, not
Resentful.
Stress, rasa macam lot of pressure, when facing the parents. And ketiga is permissive parenting, pun macam ada imbalance juga. Ni yang parents terlalu lenient, a lot of care, tapi less guidance and firm. Macam I guess kita macam like orang kan gurau macam the hippie style of parenting lah.
Bagi je. Semua
bagi
okey je.
Semua okey je. Dan yang keempat is the neglectful parenting. So neglectful parenting is yang tak ada apa-apa lah, macam no warmth or regard, tak ada disiplin.
Emotionally distant.
I mean basic needs mungkin is met, tapi there's no macam connection. So
Just bagi makan, tempat tidur, rumah,
tu je.
sekolah dah. Pandai lah kalau lepas tu.
Kan, you deal with it yourself lah. So
I think that's probably old generation banyak macam tu lah. They just give the basic ones tapi emotionally tak met.
But I guess at the time maybe that's what they knew at the time. That maybe during that context, as long as your kids ada makanan, tinggal, okay, that's
Pergi sekolah.
kan. But now that it's a different time, kan? Now kita dah tahu lah macam there's more to being a parent than macam basic needs lah.
So I think that's very important, the 4 types of parenting, because as parents who are going through divorce and then decided to stay together for the children who are going through the divorce, I think kita dapat banyak perkongsian yang bermanfaat pada hari ini. Boleh berlaku penceraian bukan sahaja 2 orang dewasa berpisah, tapi kanak-kanak yang di tengah-tengah itu. So I mean, this is modern life, modern times. We also have to be realistic. what Cik Daniel dah bagi tahu tadi, the tips iaitu make sure the children are safe and secure, and we can do that with a few steps. Contohnya checking in, checking about their self-worth, how they feel that day, are they still doing the activities that they love,
Betul.
communication dan performance at school. Then kalau ada red flags, benda ni dah berlangsung dengan waktu yang lama, dan mungkinlah ketika itu perlunya ada intervensi daripada clinical psychologist untuk mendapatkan sedikit bantuan dari segi cognitive behavioral therapy, supaya anak-anak itu pun boleh proses apa yang dia lalui alongside with what the parents are going through as well. Kan?
I nak tanya actually one last question. We talk about we are Gen X or maybe you're millennial. I'm not sure. I'm Gen X. You're probably millennial.
Yeah, betul.
I Gen X.
We've talked about Gen Z, and now upcoming is Gen Alpha. Do you think with technology and all that, they're going to become even more sensitive? Macam mana tu kalau betul-betul ultra sensitive? How do you think like?
That
Oh, yeah, especially talking to them like.
honestly, it's very hard to predict. You know, like
Yeah.
kan macam like we never predicted macam like ChatGPT
Yes,
happen, and that
yes.
one has really can shape how
Yeah,
society works. So
This is something yang it's hard to tengok lah macam apa yang akan berlaku. You know, only time to tell lah. But until then, we have to just stand by lah. Prepare as
Rapat
much.
dengan kita.
Prepare
So I
as much
guess
as we
in
can.
your line, it's like it's also based on research juga kan, on studies of behavioral studies lah basically.
yeah.
So this Gen Alpha ni kecil-kecil lagi kan. So I
So
guess
it's hard to we cannot make any kind of like judgment yet. No,
yeah.
don't tahu apa-apa lagi.
Yeah,
We cannot make any judgment yet.
yeah. So what would be your number one advice to parents out there who are I mean tak kisahlah married ke tak divorce ke what, but just trying to figure out their child that they feel is not causing trouble, but they just feel like, oh, my kid is like, there's something not right about my kid. I mean, so what you've given tips, yes,
Okay.
but can you walk this parent through what they should do? What's the first thing? Okay, let's say mungkin dia tengah tengok this episode on YouTube, and some of the things that has been said on this episode has raised some concern for them. So what is the next step that they should do? Should they talk to the child first? Should they talk to their partner first? Should they go straight to the clinic and ask the clinic? What should a parent do?
So I think first things first, I will tell the parent to reach out first, take a deep breath, calm down first,
Yeah.
okay? And of course, like, in again, like, do what's best for the child. And I think, having a communication with your partner is penting juga. Because whatever decisions that you want to give to your child, of course, as parents, as couple, husband, wife, is a partner. You guys are in a partnership juga.
Yeah.
So you also have to discuss first lah, what is the best option.
Yeah.
So communication between those two individuals are also important.
Yeah, it's just as important juga lah before you make any decision, because sometimes one parent wants to make this decision, the other parent macam buat decision ni, and doesn't help juga.
Doesn't help, itulah kesian. So itulah penceraian memang berakhir dari perkahwinan, tetapi dia boleh menjadi titik ketidakstabilan emosi anak-anak lah.
Betul.
Jadi the key word is actually komunikasi dan memberi safe space kepada anak, dan itulah challenge kepada parents. Tapi insyaAllah dengan ilmu dan juga awareness, metacognition and all that, then insyaAllah anak-anak tu boleh membesar dengan baik.
Betul.
Jadi terima kasih kerana mendengar episod ini, dan semoga bermanfaat. Teruskan usaha mencari makna dan erti.
Terima kasih Encik Danial.
Okay, sama-sama.
Because you are also helping to shape the future generation.
Okay.
So thank you so much for giving our tips. We really hope that if some parents out there are looking for answers, that hopefully this has helped to start the process of trying to get the answers. I don't think you can get all the answers here today, but hopefully you can start that journey of trying to help even the parent themselves or the child. So until we meet you in another episode, please be
Yes.
kind to yourself and take care of each other.